4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist. Get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zeimet.
Hello and welcome to the Beverly Zeimet Show, where being the best you can be has just gotten easier. My guest today is Patty Grover, calling in from Massachusetts, right?
No,
No,
Maine.
Maine. Why did I say Massachusetts? Start with an M, right? It's up in the same corner, right? Maine. You know, I was up in Maine a few months ago, in October actually. I went up there to check out all the colors and, you know, the leaves and everything. So we traveled all over, went through all the little states up there. So now I can actually say I've been in every state of the union, which is so cool.
There you go.
I know. Oh my gosh, you were sharing with me that you've had some kind of challenges up there, right? With no electricity. Share with the audience and what's been going on up there.
Well, I'm Patricia. Well, I go by my nickname is Patty because my official name is Patricia, but I'm Patricia Joe Grover, the Goal Achievement Strategist. That's my actual title. I am up in Maine, and recently, we're all undergoing, quarantine because of the, coronavirus. But all over the country, everybody's dealing with different things, whether it be weather or other things. But but recently we had a snowstorm, a bad spring snowstorm that we lost power for 3 days. During that process on Saturday, we had right here in our town a 2.1 earthquake. And then our power came back on 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So we got power back on just in time to get ready. Hopefully this isn't going to be an issue, but today we're supposed to have heavy rain and heavy winds, maybe up as high as 50 to 60 mile an hour winds that could knock power out for other people again too. So we don't have it any worse than other places in the world, in the country. It just messes with what we're trying to do.
It does. It's like, hey, you didn't ask me for permission to have this happen, right?
Yeah, Mother Nature is a little,
yeah,
rearing her head too.
Yeah, she can be temperamental from time to time. Yeah, it's been crazy kind of all over. I mean, if you look just for the last year, the weather in every state has been crazy, So what is going on? Change is what's going on, right? Change.
Exactly.
And how we handle that is huge because it's a personal thing for everyone, and we've kind of really been just kind of like forced into a massive change globally, and wow, it's interesting.
It's the powers above us, whether you believe in God or infinite intelligence or whatever it is,
right.
In Mother Nature saying, slow your roll. Slow your roll. Take a step back.
I would have to agree with that. It's like you're getting way out of hand here. Bring yourself a little back. Let's reel it in. Yeah. And take a look at what's the basics.
Exactly.
Get back to your roots, right?
Exactly.
And don't think that you're the power of it all. And it's like, okay. But the beautiful thing is my gosh, the pollution's like going away. That's kind of nice. Right?
There are going to be so many things. I've said a few times during this whole thing I've said for years, I would like to see things go backwards 30 years. And I'd also like some other things to go forward 30 years.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. And now is our chance for that to happen.
Yes.
It really is for everybody to take this time. And, what I've been saying is it's time for us to do a retake, reshape, and remake our future, whether it's for us individually or do it collectively for our country and our world.
Right.
We got to figure out where those pieces fit for every single one of us.
Yeah, and the key word here is that collective. Collective, so that we have that synergism of everybody. I mean, we're all one, right? So if we can all come together in that mindset, right? And really power forth, getting back into the roots and where the bases that we need to build on, but then also incorporating all the cool things with technology and everything like that. And so when you look at it, it could be a happy marriage on both sides, right?
It could. So my, and I'm not very political. So as close that I will get to being political is saying I'm not going to give credit or negate whether Democrat, Republican, anything like that. What I'm saying here in the United States is collectively, we all need to be Americans, and we need to put the Americans, this country, and put what we all want collectively together. And that's what our founding fathers put together, the democracy and how the system should work. And we all need to take a step back. An individual, us as an individual, what do we want from our states? What do we want for our country? What do we want? And really understand that, because we need to go to those people that are our state representatives and be very clear with that and get involved with what's going on, because those are the people that are making the decisions, but we need to have our voices heard all the way up the ladder so that we can, as collectively as possible, come to an agreement the way things will move forward from now.
Right. And that goes right into the theme of what this whole show is all about, being that better you. What can you do to be a better you every single day?
Right.
And coming together, like you say, in that collective consciousness and having your voice, being able to speak your voice. But before you can speak your voice, really know from your heart what it is that you want in your deepest desires. And it has to be, for the American people. It doesn't matter what culture you are, doesn't matter what color, race, creed, belief, it doesn't matter. We're all on this planet, and we're all here in the United States, and that's what's it, United States of the American Association, right? And it's one. And we need to go for that goal, because that's, like you said, what our founding fathers did for us and wanted for us, and put together that base to build on. And we've lost a lot of that, so it's going back and understanding each little piece of what that means. And now it's every one of our chances or opportunity to be an American.
The best we can be. Yep.
Yeah.
The best that we as each individual can be.
Yes. And that begins then to be that collective whole. And it all starts here. It all starts at home in this vessel, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is really where I am focusing on. We don't have control. We don't know when this is over with or whatever, we don't know what we're going back to, how things will be. Nothing will be exactly the same as it was before.
Oh my gosh, no kidding.
But we have to have that, Beverly, that we have to be able to dream, and we have to be able to, want something better for ourselves and our children and our families and our world. We have to all have those and want those things. Mm-hmm. It's going to be different for you. It's going to be different for me. It's going to be different for every individual. But what has everybody always said? The American dream. You can become whatever you want to become.
Right.
You can grow up and do whatever you want to do. So we need to go back to that. And even though right now we don't know what that is and what we're going to be allowed to do, job physically or whatever, why?
Yeah.
But if there's something we have in our hearts, in our souls, more, bad enough, we will find a way to get there. And now with all the new technology and everything.
Right.
But as in every aspect in life and in history, if there has been crisis, which there has, over the years, those crises have spawned creativity and innovation. Mm-hmm. And those things, and just like this crisis is creating different things and different opportunities that were never there before.
Right.
And we need
Right.
to all look at that and utilize, those things. So whether you believe that God created us as individuals in the world and everything, or if you believe in evolution and however it happened.
And it's still happening, isn't it?
It's still happening. But
Yeah.
if you do believe in evolution, we had to evolve from whether it was from apes or, you know what I mean, and
Right.
adjust to what was happening in the world.
Yeah.
It's no different than what we have to do now. And thinking of it this way is we need to evolve as a human race to adapt to whatever this is going to be for us.
Right. And it's
And the
definitely going to
best
be
way
different.
that we can do that, exactly. The best way that we're going to be able to do that is come back into ourselves, learn ourselves, know ourselves, and what we want, and allow ourselves to be creative and have those dreams, that passion come into us to say, I may have wanted to be this. Maybe I'll still be able to find a way to do that, but maybe this has created another option for me that I can still work within, and it will give me the passion and power to move forward.
Right. Right, exactly. Because we have, nobody really has an insight into what it's going to be like out there. I mean, when the doors open, it's going to be this mass mob, wah, and like you said, in crisis, crises that happen, civilization after civilization after civilization, right? And it's a purging, it's a cleansing, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, where do we go from here? There are going to be businesses that will not survive.
That's true.
They're all going to be new businesses that flourish, right? So that's the change. So what you have to do is ask yourself, where do I fit in the scheme of all of this? And right now we really have an option to reevaluate where we are and where we're going and how we're going to get there, and being creative in that, right? And so so that's a choice. Or you can just sit around, live in fear, take yourself down into destruction, and wipe yourself off the planet. I mean, it's the extreme of both, right? And that's this duality world. So it does boil down into what's in it for me. What is my survival? Do I want to go beyond survival? And what are the choices that I'm going to make? Because change is here, and if you're one of those that are on the fence that don't like change, you better change that, right?
It's rough. It's rough.
Yeah, because it's going to happen regardless of what happens. Change is the only consistent that there ever was and ever will be. It's how you go along and flow with it, where your resistance is or where your flow is. And it's a whole hell of a lot easier to move down the river in the flow than it is to resist it, to try to go against and again, you look at the mindset, your belief system. If you live in fear, it takes a lot more energy to stay in fear than it does to bring yourself up and into happiness and joy and forward thinking, right? Think about that. I mean, test yourself on this.
I have used this time to do just that for myself.
Share with the audience how you did that. How did you do that for yourself?
Well, actually, I sat down and I wrote out my whole life story. I wrote everything in my life because I wanted to feel more connected with who I was, and having it down on paper in front of me in those words. I wanted to see that. And then you go back and look, because I believe our lives are like a jigsaw puzzle. When we are born, that puzzle is dumped out on the table in front, and it's our parent or our responsible adults, their job is to flip over the pieces so that you're not seeing all the cardboard, put the edges together, for us. And that's that person. They do that. They, as we get to the age where they can help us start putting those pieces together, that's what they do. They help us match the colors up and all that. And if pieces fall on the floor, they pick them up and put them back near the area where they were. When we get older, we start working on the puzzle pieces ourselves. When we become teenagers, the pieces start edging over towards the side, and it's that adult's responsibility to edge it back over. Okay. But then once we start working on that puzzle ourselves, we work on it, and sometimes very diligently. But then life happens, and life happens to every single one of us, whether we're ready for it or not. So that puzzle that we're working on are making ourselves better and to be the best we can be. Sometimes, again, life happens just like this is happening.
Yes.
That puzzle then gets set off to the side, and we do whatever we need to do. And then when we get a chance, we go back to working on that puzzle, back to working on ourselves. Okay, so this crisis is putting us all in the position where we can go back to working on that puzzle and back to working on ourselves.
And we got lots of time to do that now, don't we?
Right. So that's what I have done with this opportunity, is writing down my whole life. And again, seeing everything in front of us, because that jigsaw puzzle box, every single one of us, that box cover, we don't know what that picture is going to look like.
Right.
We don't know. We all have different amounts of pieces in our puzzle, but we don't know what that end picture is going to look like. It's actually quite a collage when you take, and I looked at my life and on paper, and it's like, this seemed like a different lifetime ago.
Right.
It really did. But if you take the time to do that and know yourself, and then think of this, we all have, or I do, and I tell people, we all need dreams or goals, that something that we're going after, and put together plans on how you're going to do that. Some people that I work with as clients have a hard time allowing themselves to feel like they should be able to, or that they are worthy of having a dream or goal. That's the difficult thing. But right now, we all are in the same, this is a clean slate. We all don't know what the future holds. This is where we're all the most even that we've ever been in history that I know of as a world. That this is where we need to see and know ourselves. Then we have to find out what we have passion for. Again, this may have changed from what it was, because now with all this new technology and everything being virtual or online now, opens up so many more doors in different ways. So it's like a GPS system. If you know where you are, but you have to know where you are, because if you're coming to my house and you're calling me on the phone, hey Patty, I've gotten temporarily this place. Well, then if I say, hey Beverly, can you tell me where you are? Because if you tell me where you are, I can tell you how to get to my house.
Right.
We need to know where we are, and so many people don't. And this is the time to get to know where they are, starting with. Okay, so a GPS system, you need to know where you are, but then you need to know where you want to go.
Right.
So now take this time to figure out where we are, and then figure out where we want to go. Then put together that plan of the steps to get in between those two things. And yes, life is going to happen to every single one of us. It is. There's no two ways around it. So there will be detours. There will be roads closed because of whatever has happened. We need to have that plan in place that says, you know what, as long as I have my point A and my point B figured in, I will get there somehow, some way. If I have the curiosity to have those dreams and goals to begin with, if I have the courage to battle through everything And once I have that plan put together, if I have that consistency to keep working that plan, I will get there.
Yeah.
And that's what I teach people.
That is a great analogy. Is a great analogy, and again, it's the language that the tech language you're living in, right? You know, how many times have you put in on your GPS, right, and say, okay, here I am, I'm going there, and it takes you on a wild goose chase, and you're ended up way the heck over here, and you're like, what? I'm like 20 miles from where I'm supposed to be. Well, again, life can take us that way too, can it? Right?
Yes,
And
for
so
sure.
it's not for us to know the how. It's for us to know that here we are and this is where we want to go. And
Right.
sometimes
But
those detours give us some of the hows that we would have missed, right? Right?
exactly. They
Yeah.
introduce us to things that actually bring joy to our lives, or, you know, there's so many things that we could be missing out because we chose to put in, like if you plug in your GPS, you can put in there avoid tolls. You can
Right?
put in there
Right?
this and that. So it depends on what you put in your GPS. Okay, I want to avoid this and that. It may take you a longer way around because of that.
Right.
You know, if it would be something else. If we could plug into our GPS, okay, I want to go the way that's going to give me the most joy.
Right?
I
That
want
would be good.
to,
Hey, that's
I
good.
want to plug in, you know, I want to plug into my GPS the one that's going to give me the most experiences, you know. So we need to have this type of mindset at this point in time to
Oh,
move forward
yes.
with everything that's going on. You know, if someone has never struggled, they're having a hard time right now because
Oh,
they
yeah.
never have had struggles that they've had to make it through to move forward. Those of us that have had, it, you know, I am not having hard time struggling through this. You know, I see it as, again, this is a clean slate for everybody. It puts everybody on the most even playing field that we've ever had. So this has the stuff that's going on. It doesn't matter your color, your sexual orientation, your religion. You know what I mean? This is straight across the board.
Oh, yeah.
It can affect everybody in the same, and it is affecting everybody in the same way.
Right.
You know, so this is the closest to a new beginning we're all going to have. When you said when those doors open,
Yeah, it's
this
just going to be, right? Yeah, and I like that analogy, right? Where we are, you know, I never looked at it that way before, but everybody being on that same level playing field, and what are you going to do with it? You know, and if you've just been floating through life, and there's been a lot of people that have floated through life, not saying it's right or wrong, it's what worked for you. You know, when you get up, you know, you had the same routine, right? Because somebody was telling you what to do, when to do, how to do it, where to do it, why to do, how often to do it, you know, right? It was just that routine, right? All of a sudden, it came to an abrupt stallness here. And so now we have to make personal adjustments and choices and be responsible for those choices, and because choices being made whether you think you're making them or not. By not making the choice, you still made the choice. So to really start to understand what choices are and where your choices are at this time, and like you said, you know, those that have struggled through and had challenges and conquer them and move, this point here is not a challenge. It's an opportunity to say, whoa, hey, I can reinvent this and that. Let's see, I got this. These are the things that worked over here. Now I got the opportunity to say, you know, get rid of that, trash that, because now I can move this over here and it's going to go like this, right? You know, and it's that creative brain and that entrepreneurial spirit has been coming back more and more. You know, and I think that is a base that every one of us has. It's just that we've lost it, right? It's kind of went on the back burner because we got so dependent on that 9 to 5, you know, exchanging the time for the money, being told what to do. Okay, yeah, it's comfortable, you know, and it's okay. But rather than settling for okay, I mean, what are you settling for now? You're settling for, whoa. um, there's like, what can you do? You're stuck here. And again, creating that team support, so if you have a family, you have kids at home, and that's going back into that base, right? To where now everybody can pull their little puzzle out. And it's like, let's see, you know what? That puzzle piece over there of yours looks like it would fit really good over here with mine. And oh, yeah, and then you got this kids. And now you're intertwining those puzzle pieces and you're creating a new world of solid foundation. Right? So how can we make the best out of this as a family unit, but what can we do as a business unit? Because if kids can learn business, ethics now, at whatever age that they are, whether they're 3 or whether they're 13 or whether they're 33, it doesn't matter, right? Is to start with that foundation and become that family unit again, right? I interviewed a girl the other day who had a business that was 104 years old, passed down through generations.
The lady from Alaska.
Yes, you saw that?
Yes.
Wasn't that an amazing story? So when you look at that and the passion that she had, and it's like, her dad was like, oh, it's ended, right? And she goes, oh, no, it hasn't, right? So to be able to come up out of that and keeping those creative juices going, because we are in this time, and you said a word early in this conversation that has been kind of a warm in my heart, which is virtual. For about a year and a half, I have been looking to create and design something where I could do my classes and workshops in a virtual element, right? Where people could be there virtually, yet have the experience of being there physically. And I had no clue how this was going to happen, none whatsoever. But about 2 months ago, the vision was more than a vision, it was a reality. And that's kind of what started all of this stuff going down the road that it has. And the virtual reality world, I don't know how much you're familiar with it, but it was a gaming, it was a gaming industry, right? And I was exposed to it a year ago, but it's like, that's not where I'm going. That doesn't compute with where I would see myself in a virtual classroom type setting, whatever. So my friend contacted me 2 months ago, and he says, I got your answer. And I said, well, show me, right? And we got on a Zoom like this. He took me into this virtual reality world, and he showed me the virtual reality university. Oh my gosh, Patty, I got to take you guys.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Oh my God, I'm going to take you on a journey, and so you got time later this afternoon. We'll get you on there because it's so much fun. But it looked like an actual physical university, right? And we went inside. Here's a classroom, that has computers and desks and everything, and up front you got your whiteboard, you got your video camera up there where you can put up a video or PowerPoints, whatever, And then we went to a different room, and there was this auditorium. So all these chairs, and you're up there on stage. Oh my gosh.
Mind is blown. My mind is blown.
So that was real. I mean, and they're avatars, of course, which is fine. Yeah. But the neat thing about it, there's pros and cons with everything, right? But
because everybody learns in so many different ways,
right.
But so now we have that opportunity to add that into the mix, because some people, especially the younger folks, need to have that.
Well, they're born into that. It's like right. They have this technology in their DNA. For crying out loud, it's crazy. So it's like I can ask my little great grandsons, right? Say, help Grandma do this. How do we do this? Oh, Grandma. And then they just go and they show you, and you're like, okay, I got this. So you can teach them things, and they can definitely teach you things, right?
Exactly.
But with this whole virtual reality thing and being able to work with that, some of the major pros that I've seen is, okay, you don't have the expense of travel. You don't have the expense of hotel rooms. You don't have the expense of having to find a babysitter if you got kids at home that need attention, right? And you don't have to worry about eating out. And let's just say there's some folks that maybe, it's a challenge for them just to get to pay for the event, but then you add on all this other stuff and it's like it just doesn't work.
Right, because all those expenses for people like you and I make us have to charge more for people to attend.
Exactly. And then it's like, that's not fair, right? But everybody wants their little piece. So in that virtual reality world, it's not like that. But let's just say you're bedridden. Or let's just say that, you're incapacitated to the point that travel is not an option to that degree.
A physical handicapped or,
Yeah, right. And so now here you are in this room. Everybody has their little avatar, but you're sitting next to each other. You can converse as if you were sitting next to a person. Now, if you had insecurities, right, of what are people going to, how are they going to look at me, or how are they going to, right? Things like that,
yeah.
Regardless of what those insecurities are, all of that's gone.
Yeah.
All of it's gone. You don't even use your real name in there. You can be whatever you want in there. Right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about it. So now all your inhibitions are gone and you're in this room, everybody, again, like you said, on equal playing ground.
Now, let me ask you, how much, as a person who is using that as the presenter, how much control do you have over that to limit people who may have a bad behavior or
well,
whatever?
See, there's this little button on them, like when you put your mouse over the little avatar, there's a little button on there that says silence.
Oh, there you go. Or put them in timeout.
Yeah, if they're really upsetting and they're bouncing around and they're just really interfering, then there's another one that says disappear.
Okay.
So you do have control over that. You do.
Right. Just because, again, right now with everything, trying to keep people with having the most positive mindset,
right,
and having that because that's going to help people move forward rather than people going in there stirring up things.
Well, they have what they call trolls on this virtual reality thing, which is just like troublemaker. It doesn't matter where. So the neat thing about it is you have control over that room that you're bringing them in. It's not open to the public. If you don't have the password, you don't get in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And and again, the other side of this is now you have to have the discipline within yourself, and to respect everybody else, because you got this little mic on, you can hear everything. Now you can shut down the noise chatter, kind of like here on Zoom. I mean, I can say mute and everybody goes silent, right?
Right.
But in the virtual reality world, again, you have to have the discipline. So let's just say it's a 2-day event or even just a 1-day event, right? You have to have the discipline to walk out of the family unit or the situation, wherever it is that you are, into a private space where you're going to be in that private space. You're going to be focused on, you've got your computer up here and you're right there. Because in virtual reality, because of how the rooms are set up and everything, the psyche will trigger that you're automatically there. And because you can lean to the next person and you can say, did you catch that? What did she just say? And then you can write it in your notes, right? Seriously.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah, exactly. So you can have that interaction right next to somebody, and not disrupt the whole room, because your voice as a speaker is going to carry out too, right? But next to each other, whatever. So let's just say, okay, so we take a break. We take a 10-minute or 15-minute break. Everybody in that room can network,
or even at that table or whatever.
Yeah, however you set that room up, right? I mean, you could do speed networking there, we actually started, speaking of that, we actually started, this is, you'll love this. It's a networking. It's business, digital business international, which is global. So it's kind of like your chambers, your lead groups, your BNIs, that type of thing,
Yeah.
virtually. And so we have
Wow.
those rooms, however you set your group up, right? So when you look at how you shift from how you did business to how you can do business, right?
Now I just went to a virtual event that Manny Lopez did.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was this virtual, it was like you were at a conference, and the speakers came up and they had you sitting near at tables near certain, with certain people, so you could have that conversation. So maybe it's a similar platform, but
Yeah,
that was the first exposure that I had.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of different platforms out there, and which direction you want to go. And we've chosen, this particular one, and to be able to do that. And each person has an opportunity to create their own, well, they don't call them rooms, they call them worlds, right? Like this,
Right.
it's your own world.
Yeah.
And so you can do in that world what you want. Now, I do a lot of meditations, right? So I've created a world that I can take people in, and now they have the feel of it. The music is playing, and I can teach them meditation and whatever the case may be, right? And this is something you don't have to have those Oculus glasses or anything, right?
Right.
And you can do it directly on a PC. And of course, this technology now is even expanding like really fast because there's a demand out there, right? So any of you guys listening out there, if this kind of trips your little trigger, comment below and let us know, because we'll take you on a trip. We'll definitely take you on a trip, and because we have trips going out every day, right? Virtual trips, so,
Yeah.
right? And
that is so cool.
Yeah. And too, I mean, a Zoom is great, especially if it's just a few people. I did a Zoom yesterday. I've got 10 brothers and sisters. A lot of family members of generations going down. And so it was really nice to be able to throw up my Zoom. They got on, and they're scattered all over, right? And it's like, whoa, mute everybody, right? And then we took turns sharing what we're going to do for the day and what's been going on since this, and just, it gave a sense of togetherness.
Exactly.
Because we're a very closely bonded family. And, so it kind of brought that back just through the Zoom, right? Which is really kind of cool because you can see everybody, but it still wasn't like that reaching out and touching. And I have created a world over there where it's like a little bonfire, because we get together, we always kind of like a big bonfire, right? And everybody's out playing horseshoes.
I love
and
that.
Stuff. Yeah, because you can play games in there.
A fireside chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can create. If you can create it up here, you can create it in there. So it doesn't always have to be just a stage presence type of thing. But, so it's how you want your classroom set up, right? And what that platform looks like. And there's a lot of things. I mean, we've got little plaques on the wall. We have this little box thing that we make. So if you're selling your coaching, or if you're selling online courses, or if you have a book and you got a book, we got to talk about your book, right? And so it can be up there on the wall, and people want it. All they got to do is click, right? And it takes them right over there to purchase. How cool is that?
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
That is very, very cool.
And if they want a different ambience of taking the class, let's just say taking a course, they can actually come into the Element, go there, grab it, go sit down at a little desk or table, whatever, and do it.
Unreal.
Right there, so it looks real.
Unreal.
Then,
Yeah.
So if you can think it, you can create it. And it's the same out here in the real. Well, I don't know what's real and what isn't real anymore, right?
Well, but it is true. Elizabeth, when we have to have dreams. We do.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
we have
Yes.
to have dreams and goals. And if, you know, if allowing ourselves to know that there's something else out there for us, we have
Right.
to have that curiosity. Whether, and again, whether it's be in the virtual world or right now, what we have in front of us,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and so to put those things together and know that right now, again, going back, we
Right.
all have to figure out where we are at point A,
Yep.
allow ourselves to think there's a point B, and then putting together those plans in between. But I'll go back to something else we touched on before, was that we all make choices.
Yes.
And right now, having that positive mindset and, you know, and really looking at our lives. But it doesn't matter who we are. The choices we make, whether they be, you know, good, bad, or indifferent, are also the things that we have to accept responsibility for
Oh, there you
as
go.
individuals.
That's a key word, responsibility for.
And
Whoa.
you know, as us as individuals, but also as a, for us as a country,
Yes.
for us as the world.
Yes.
And we need, from the time people are children, and we talk about what they were taught,
Mm-hmm.
if they were taught from then, you make a choice, there's consequences to every action,
Yes.
even for children.
Yes.
And if we go back to that for our kids, but also for us as individuals, for our politicians, for our country, for our world, there are consequences to every single one of our actions.
Exactly.
And if we actually, you know, reel it all back in and start from there, because again, we're all on the same playing field.
You know, I love that. I'm going to use that analogy. That is like,
Yeah.
I love this because we are. And that, I never looked at it like that,
Yeah.
but it is.
And here's another analogy for you right now, because everybody's asking, you know, the president, whether they like him or not, or whatever the case may be, when is this going to be over? When are we going to be able to go back to our regular lives? Well, he doesn't know.
No.
I think he wanted to try to ease people's mind or get them feeling a little bit better. But think about it this way. He's driving the car and all the kids are in the back seat.
Right.
Okay. And we're everybody, the media right now, the media are the kids in the back seat. Are we there yet?
Yeah.
Are we there yet? And asking and it seems like you put on the TV,
oh my gosh.
and they're asking the same questions over and over again.
Yes.
And he is trying to pay attention and focus and drive down the road.
Right.
He's trying to look out the windshield, not back in the back seat or in the rearview mirror. He's trying to, in the people in our country that we have elected. So every single one of us voted for the people who are in the positions to be making choices and doing this.
Right.
So we said, okay, we're giving you the power to do this. Collectively, we made those choices and decisions. So we need to let them do their jobs. We need to let them know what we want. But that's what we do during the whole political cycle. And to our, whether it be our city council members all the way up through, you know, people who govern our states and all the way through. But we showed up to vote for these people to represent us in this whole collective. So we now, at this point, when we're all on the same playing field, let's look at what it is we want these people to be doing. And from this point on, voice our opinions to that. Let the people who are at the steering wheel pay attention and focus and drive. Don't be in the back seat. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Okay, when we get there, what do you want to do?
That's exactly
what do you want your life to be? What, you know, we all need to do that for ourselves. We all need to teach our kids to do that. Every single one of us. This is the time to be doing that.
Because it's definitely going to be different. We have no clue what it's going to be like out there. So again, when you look at the the fear of the unknown. The fear of the unknown is projecting out there what could or couldn't be. So if you're in fear here, you're going to automatically assume the fear out there is going to be just as bad or worse. So now it's an opportunity to say, hey, do I really need to be in that kind of a mindset? Because what if? Let's play that pretend world. You know, a lot of people can't focus. They don't know how to dream because it just isn't in their whatever anymore.
And they've shut down,
Yeah.
right?
But pretend, we can all still pretend. Because it takes you out of that real world into the virtual reality world, right? So pretend, what if over there is better? And how can that pretend be better over there? By how we perceive it in here and how we start living it in here to project what it's going to be when we get there. Like you say, when that bus stops and they open the door, now you're on the other side. You better know what you're going to do once you get there, right? And that could happen tomorrow, next week, or next month. But if you're not prepared, wow. Because how many of us were really prepared going into this? But we knew it was coming. We had no clue the capacity or what it was going to be, but we knew something was coming. Where's your preparation?
Well, but too, this goes back to some things my husband and I were just talking about recently, is that we have all heard, everybody over the years have heard, that we should have an emergency fund. Every single one of us should have an emergency fund just in case.
Just in case.
How many people actually have that out of the whole country?
Not
We're
so
talking
much.
very, very, very few. So things that we know, you know, are people going to start taking that seriously now? I certainly hope so.
Exactly.
So right now they may not have anything. They may be getting their groceries from being donated from food pantries and such. I'm not saying that they are not deserving of a better future. But what I'm saying is now that you know this is real, you know, and these things are real. When somebody tells you, you need to learn from other people's wisdom. And that's a hard thing for some people to do.
Yeah, it is. It is. Because we always think, well, it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to me.
Or we think we know better than somebody else.
Exactly. And we don't want to be told what to do, right?
Well, I'm a Grammy, and I've earned my stripes because I've had that pain from not listening to other people, you know, and from that pain, right. From pain comes wisdom. And I learned that, you know what, there are these things that have happened, and there's those old adages that are still true today for a reason.
That's right.
And we all need to, you know, start thinking and writing every single one of them. You can think down and you're like, oh my God, that's still true. That's still true.
Yeah.
So this Grammy, I don't knit. I cliche. And what, you know, because that's the thing. I figured out that it's better to learn from other people's wisdom and not try to recreate the wheel.
Exactly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right. Yeah. You know, and some things, a lot of things, it's going back to those basics.
Yes.
And if we do it now, take this time to do this, get to understand who we are at the core.
Right.
What it is that we have passion for, what we have interest in, what differences you and I can make in this world, even if it's somebody, again, we need so many blue collar workers, you know, out there, the service industry, trades and everything.
Well, yeah, they're the basis for everything, you know, that's part of the ecosystem.
Right. Not everybody needs to go to college and end up $250,000 in student debt. And right now, think of it.
And still flip hamburgers, right?
Well, because they get there and they don't have jobs in that field, or they got there, started doing it and hate it because it's not their passion, you know. So take this time to learn ourselves to the core, who we are, what we want, what positive differences we can make in this world. If somebody doesn't have a positive difference they think that they can bring to this earth, it's time for them to do a 360, 180, whatever it is, to change that, because
Right.
doing negative or bad things isn't going to get them
No.
anything they really truly want.
Or doing
You
nothing at
know,
all.
so
Doing nothing at all.
yeah,
So and it's that opportunity to really to get into that inner who you are, to find out what your passion is. Right? Don't go back to that job you hate. Let that be somebody else's position because they love it and they're holding the one that you probably love. It wouldn't be great if you could just go and exchange. I like what you're doing. Well, I like what you. Okay, let's just change jobs. I mean, sounds good, sounds simple, but whatever. But I
right.
would teach. I would tell my kids this all the time. It was like when they started wanting to make choices and going where, and it's like you have one or two choices here. If you really think you want to do that and that's the experience you want, however, it doesn't matter who you are. If you take that car and you drive at 60 miles an hour into a brick wall, the outcome is going to be the same whether you're behind the seat or somebody else is. So before you make that choice, you need to ask yourself, do I want to head to that crash because it's going to crash? Just because you're headed there doesn't mean it's not going to. Are you going to learn that or experience it? That's the question you have to ask. If you say, I need to experience, do it. Right? And after
you might be sorry after, but
I didn't say that. I just let them at the choice. And, a couple times they did, and it's like, oh, you're right, Mom, right? And it's like, and then they started saying, you know what? I really don't need that experience because I can remember what Mom said. That is I can see it's a crash. Everybody that's gone that way has crashed.
Yeah.
Who am I to think
so
that?
many people, right? Yeah. So many people need to learn that hard way. They have to crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God knows
well,
we
you
made
had
our
said
own
about
crashes.
the book.
Yes. Let's bring your book up. I'm gonna put it up here on camera. Living Outside the Box. Right? Wow.
Right. Okay. So this was actually my book's first edition. It sold out on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million. I am actually right now getting ready to finish up my second edition.
Oh, nice.
And it should be launching around Mother's Day and available on, then. Of course, we don't know. Right now, they're still not shipping books and stuff from Amazon. So I will, have it available in the paperback, but also I'll have it available in ebook.
Okay, cool.
Right now, actually, can I give you a special thing for the people who are watching?
Go for it.
Yeah. If you text the word GOAL, GOAL, to 866-926-4020, I have special gifts that are be available to people that are watching.
Great.
One of which is if you pre-order the second edition that's coming out, if you pre-order that, I will email this book in the audiobook that I did the recording of in the meantime while they're waiting to either get the ebook or the paperback of the new one. So, and that email that I send for that is free.
Okay. We'll actually put that up. That. We'll actually put that up in the intro. When it starts, when it's playing, so that they can see it and whatever, right? And the edit thing.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it.
So on that, so they'll get it when they text. They'll get sent a document, and on the document it explains that promotion, but it also says, I am going to, if they choose to, I will send them one of the training things I use with clients that I work with to help them determine more about and where they are now and where they want to be. So there's a little thing, because my book is written as a tool to goal achievement. At the end of each chapter, there's assignments for people to do. So if people do that homework, if they do that assignment, and then they email, and then they give me back the homework that I gave them, I will give them a free hour consultation.
Oh, wow. How
Down
nice
with
is
them and
that?
work
You
with
guys
them.
hear that? You want that? Comment below here. Look what
Yeah.
she's doing for us, right?
Well,
Yeah,
because
reach
again,
out.
right now, but again, this is for people who are serious, who want
Exactly.
to right now that you're on this level playing field. If you want to put plans in place to get wherever it is
You
you
want
want
to
to get.
be that better you, right? Pay attention. You want to
Exactly.
be that better you. This is why we're choosing the speakers here, right? And to share how they can
Right.
assist you in being that better you, because they've been there and their walk and their talk, that's being a better them, right? And that's what
Exactly.
it's all about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the people that I'm helping to achieve their dreams and goals, what would you think? Do you think when I have people tell me, Patty, you've made a difference, something you've said, or the the information you've shared with me, and I followed it through, and this has happened?
Right.
What do you
It changed my
suppose
life,
that?
right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever, if I change somebody's life or help them move forward in a positive direction, how rewarding is that? How rewarding is that? So
Exactly.
that's what it's all about for me.
Oh, that is so awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, Patty. This has
No,
been
thank you for
amazing.
having me, Beverly. This has been an amazing experience, and I can't wait, because I really believe that this classroom that you're telling me about, or this whole platform, would help me touch and get my message across to more people,
Because it works out on
and
that
have it
global
be
platform. Definitely,
exactly.
definitely.
And also, like you said, the people who may be physically handicapped or whatever, not being able to go to
Right.
something, this gets them into a situation, because just because they're there does not mean that they don't have dreams or goals. They by all
Well,
means
exactly,
have
exactly. And it
have
just
them.
it just for everyone. And again, some of them that are tight on funds, but they want that, and they can pay for the class, but it's all the other stuff, right?
Right,
And
because
so,
I've been in the process of creating online courses, but I hadn't gotten to the point of getting recordings and stuff done
yeah.
yet.
But the
But
discipline for an online course is totally different than when you're actually in that classroom setting. And personally, I feel that people learn differently in that classroom setting, and that's key, because you're getting a synergism of energy as well. And again, we don't always have the discipline to do it ourselves. How many times have you bought an online course and it's still sitting in the box? Maybe you did one or two modules and it's still there. I know I've got some, right?
right, right,
Right? Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
So,
again, so this is putting me, getting exposed to what you shared with me today is maybe giving me the opportunity to be able to help even more people
right,
than I had, and
right. On a
even
whole different level.
contemplated.
On a whole different
Right,
level.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were meant to make our connection so
Yep,
that I could
that's
be on this
right.
show with you today.
That's
Yes.
exactly right. There are no coincidences, right? And it's just been such a delight having you here. And we definitely got to get you back. So, hey, you guys are listening out there. You want this lady back? Say yes. Comment below. Can't read your mind, but I can read your
All right.
comments, right? So reach out to her,
Awesome.
private message me, comment below here. I'm going to throw this up, and this is how you can reach Patty. They never quit on your dreams. Her website, patricia.joegrover.com.
It's it's Patricia Joe Grover.com.
Okay,
That's just patriciajoegrover.com.
okay. So take that dot out of there.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And, oh,
Yeah.
fascinating. My gosh, we could just keep on talking and talking and talking forever.
I know.
And that's what
I
I
know.
really love about these shows, because in the audience, some of you guys have heard me say this, everything in this show is organic. We don't know each other.
Yep.
We never met. until she jumps on here. You know, I put it out there, I'm looking for speakers, right? And those that need to be here with the message that they have, so powerful, just like yours is, Patty, it's great. And to be able to come together in a unit like that, have a flowing conversation and getting that word out to let you know there is hope. There's light at the end of that tunnel. It's not an oncoming train, right? You have the world at your fingertips.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
now is the time
exactly.
to use it. And so it's time for you to go out there and be that best you that you can be today and every day. Because Patty and I, we're going to go out and be the best we that we can be. Right, Patty?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you all for joining us on the show today. We love you all. Go out there, be that best you, and join us on the next show. Bye. What?